And then from like a emotional or mental place, and this is true of a lot of things, there can be a right place and a right time, but honestly, like, you just got to take the first step and do it. And if it's going to feel crazy, people are going to look at you crazy. But as long as you're confident in, and you haven't overly romanticized it, there's an element of that. As long as you're very realistic about what you're getting into, don't listen to there's a lot of naysayers when you start to do it. And a lot of people will tell you why it might not work or what the problem might be. And that might be true, but it might not be the most important thing for you.
It is another episode of the Wake and Wander podcast. Thanks so much for being on board. Excited for today's show. Going to catch up with some old friends from back in the Philly days. They have moved to Costa Rica, and I am excited to hear about it. Kevin McDonald and Allie Jacobs. Known these guys for a long time now. Maybe Kevin 2 decades or so. And now they live in Costa Rica. Pretty fresh, new. They've been there just over a month now. Very excited to catch up with them and see how the move went down, what inspired it, and what the emotional process was like leaving your home country and making a permanent move somewhere else. Not an easy thing to do. A lot of naysaying behind that, a lot of doubts. You heard a little bit of that expressed in the intro there. Everybody has an opinion, don't they? Well, I hope all's well in your world. We'll jump into the conversation here. We did this remote, making it my first international remote podcast. Hopefully, many more to come. How was the gym? You guys have a Costa Rican gym you go to now?
Yeah, whole class is in Spanish.
Really?
But yeah, we're like getting used to it. And the instructor, once we were able to communicate, like, we're not just here on vacation, like, it's coming together a lot better. And they seem to very much enjoy that we're in the class now.
I'm the only guy.
You're the only guy in the whole class?
Yeah.
Usually, yeah.
What's the class?
It's like I would call it like a HIIT class, high intensity interval training. And then there's a day of like Pilates, and she mixed in a little Zumba yesterday, which was my first experience with that.
It's fun.
And then it being in Spanish, probably even more complicated, just looking around, see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, what's nice is it's actually been helpful with learning Spanish because she has to repeat, counting is pretty easy at this point, but, move forward, go straight, go back, and like hearing those repetitively, like now we're starting to pick up on it. And because they don't know English, we have to find a way to communicate. So we come prepared with like things we want to say to them and like explain to them, and then like they kind of do the same thing back. And some people enjoy it because they get to practice their English with us. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. And the other nice thing about exercise, similar to I guess like math, is it's pretty much the same in every country. So
it's the connecting fiber.
Exactly.
So I know you guys hit the Spanish pretty hard before you made the move. How do you feel now being in the country?
Kevin did more than me as far as practicing. Kevin was on Duolingo every day for over a year.
That's impressive.
Was not.
That's impressive. You had basically a year straight going. However,
I would say that Allie is adjusting quicker than I am to conversational with people.
Why do you think that is?
Well, she's incredibly smart, but otherwise it's
I like to be prepared if I know we're going to do something. Like, let's say we're going to go out to eat. I try to be prepared with you can do very transactional things, and you can do it in a very sort of basic, like, caveman, noun, action kind of thing, and, like, get what your point across. But I try to learn, like, the conversational pleasantries of, like, when you want to order for somebody, or asking how they were, or telling them that the meal was very good, or those kinds of things that you can learn, like, in an academic way. But there's, as you know, Will, like, there's accents here in Costa Rica, or there's phrases here in Costa Rica that they use that aren't taught in standard Spanish classes. You're only going to learn that here. So just listening and like kind of hearing the way that they engage with each other, and then trying to repeat that back, and showing up with my goofy Spanish, and then letting them sort of stare at me and go, I know what you're saying. Okay, you're making the effort. We appreciate that. It's pretty cool.
It's so brave, though. You need to have it. You need to do it. When I first started learning Spanish, I was going to Mexico a lot, and I would literally memorize entire paragraphs. So when someone was like, "How are you?" I'd be like, "Hey, I'm good. My name's Will. I'm traveling here from Philadelphia, and I just started learning Spanish, and I'm here for work. I'm going to do a story about this hotel. What's up with you?"
Yep.
And then they would respond, and I'd have no idea what they said. But they already accepted me because they're like, "Oh, this guy's taking it seriously. He's into it." So I think it goes a long way.
Oh, for sure. And because, so we live in an area, we live in Lake which is kind of like a county in the United States, if you want to think of it that way. There's various like towns, and they call them barrios in the area. And so where we live in San Luis, and sort of what I would say is the south side of Lake Arenal, is very residential. It's not really built for tourists. It's teachers, it's bankers, it's construction workers, it's like people raising families. Whereas, you know, if you were to go to the other side of the lake, there's Lake Arenal, Nuevo Arenal, which is heavy expat. So people can be here for, which I am amazed by, people can be here for decades and not know any Spanish because they don't have to learn it depending on how much you stick within your expat community. Yeah. It's pretty fascinating. But that was part of the reason why we didn't want to live it so into an expat community. We wanted to like come here, really be able to work on our language skills and fully drop into the culture. Like we were not interested in coming here and trying to rebuild what we had in the US.
Yeah, I love that. A lot of people I think make that quote unquote mistake. They just go live somewhere else, but then hang out with people from their own country. What's the point? I guess maybe to lower your expenses or something. Well, we're getting into your life here, and I want to discuss all that, but I want to flash back because I came into this, when I first was aware that you guys were doing this, you were already pretty far along in the process. I never heard the origin story, and I think it'd be helpful for listeners to kind of hear about your backstory and how you decided to make this move from Jersey, Philly area to now Costa Rica. So when was the first time this idea came up for you guys?
I would say generally us wanting to live abroad has kind of always been there. So we've been married for almost 10 years at this point. We've been together for 13 or 14. And that's always been, I think anytime we travel together, we're always playing that game of like looking on Zillow and is this the kind of like culture and way of life that we like? So it was always sort of on the radar, and it was always more about when and where. There was always like a reason, work, family, those types of things. And then also too, we have 2 dogs. And so a lot of times when you think about moving abroad and bringing your animals with you, there's a lot of restrictions depending on where you want to go. So, you know, we were also very deliberate about it for that reason. And then we came to Costa Rica last year on a vacation with a group of friends. Actually, our friend and gym instructor, this woman, Danielle Brody, had put together this wellness retreat. And you know Kevin very well also. So wellness retreats and Kevin, I never thought in a million years would go together.
Not my idea of a vacation, but.
And so I said, you know, it's in Costa Rica. I want to go. And he's like, Costa Rica? I'll go to Costa Rica. And I was like, okay. We went. We fell absolutely in love with it. Everything from the people, the food, the area. When we went the first time, we were staying on the Pacific side on the beach in Uvita. And I literally came home. We came home from vacation. Kevin goes to work that Monday. I work from home at this point. And I spent the entire Monday just building the plan for how we're going to move here. Because that's like, I was convinced. I was like, this is the place. Everything is aligned with what we want. And that was sort of like the catalyst for why we doubled down on Costa Rica. And I don't want to be the only one talking. But, you know, we had stressful careers and we had achieved all the things we were supposed to achieve, right? Like we followed the rule book as far as it's laid out. I'm an older millennial, Kevin's Gen X, and we checked all the boxes and we did all the things we were supposed to do. And we kind of like, I don't know, just looked around one day and I'm like, so we did it.
We're going to do this for another 20 years.
We got to do this for another 20 years. Like it was grinding through 5 days to just try to enjoy 2 days after that. And I'm like, this is not what I want. And like, we're in this cycle of buying more things because the things made us happy which is why we had the job, but you had to keep the job to buy more things to keep yourself happy. So it was just
the
this
American
like,
dream. The American dream.
And, you know, we were sold that you do that and life's going to be peachy. And
yeah, so she came downstairs that Monday and had a whole chat GPT and other AI generated business plans and financial plans. And she said, "Do you want to do this?" And I just said, "Absolutely, yes. Let's go do this." And I think I went and told my boss the next day. I gave her like 5 months notice, 6 months notice.
The next day. So you were in.
It was pretty cool.
I was like, you told her already. I was like, maybe we just get a couple other things in place before you start telling people, especially at work. Because when we originally set this plan out, we were looking at 1 to 2 years before we were going to do this. It ended up being closer to 7 months when we actually jumped ahead. And that had to do with some information that we had gotten as we started talking with the attorneys, with like logistical things about the visa and the current administration that was in office. There were some perks or benefits to the visas we could go in on if we went before a certain date. So that was sort of why we ended up bumping up our timeline.
I'm just so impressed because so many people sit around and dream of living abroad or moving somewhere, and they talk about it a lot. They look on Zillow, but few people actually do it. So the fact that you guys within 7 months just went and did it is crazy. I mean, you're very unique in doing that. What was the reaction? What was the reaction from friends and family? How did you tell them? At what point did you tell people, no, like we're doing this?
Close friends, we told almost immediately. Family, it was a little touch and go. Right after we had gotten home from that trip in October, and made the decision, but had not told anybody yet. My mother, unfortunately, was diagnosed with cancer, bad stuff. And it had already spread all the way through most of her body. So we didn't tell anybody for quite some time because it was kind of things were in the air based on that. When she finally went into the hospital for the last time, we told her, and she was ecstatic for us. I think I left the room to go get her more water at one point, and she looked at Allie, on medication, a little bit confused and stuff, and said, "Why Puerto Rico?"
Man.
But she is very, she was always very supportive of Kevin and I don't have children, and so that grants us a flexibility.
It's a big factor. Yeah.
To do things like this. So, and she's always very much enjoyed that life for us. Like she was very happy for us to have that flexibility. So it was really nice to be able to tell her. And then once we told...
Well, after she passed, we still waited to tell people because then my father started having some issues.
Oh my God, man.
So then we finally at Christmas at my brother's house is when we announced to everybody that we had decided that we were going to move. And for some reason, they all guessed Florida. Honestly, the last place.
That's where I am right now. What do you do?
So then, we told my brothers and my sister-in-laws and our nieces and nephews at Christmas. They were all ecstatic for us.
Immediately, we're like, yeah, we get it. No, understood. Got it. No.
And then you told your sister pretty early.
Yeah, I told my sister kind of like around the same time. And I think were excited for us, but definitely, sad about the distance that it would put between us. But our friends, when we originally got back, like we definitely got that response. Like we told our friends, especially people we went on the trip with, like we would go to the gym and we would be like, we came back and we're like, we're going to move there. And everyone's like, of course you're going to move there. Everybody's going to move there. That's great. And then I was like, no. I've hired an attorney. And they were like, wait, what? And I was like, no, we're really going to do this. And then all of a sudden it was just spread like wildfire. Everybody was curious. Everybody wanted to know how and what and where and why. And so, yeah.
Are you taking the dogs?
Yeah. Are you taking the dogs? Do you have kids? I'm like, no, we don't have kids. Like, oh, that was a lot of it. Like,
but with the dogs, it was actually... super easy. We had to get some USDA certifications and get them up to date on some shots, and we basically walked them right through customs.
Yeah, there's no quarantine for animals here, which is, again, a big perk. So
that's really big perk because some places, I think Hawaii, you have to quarantine them for several months, like even in the States.
I think Australia is like that too. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I would be a mess that entire time. It wouldn't even be worth it for me.
So it sounds like you got mostly positive reaction and nobody was kind of being a naysayer or Debbie Downer about it.
I think
I don't think so.
I don't think anybody was inherently negative about it. I do think people were suspicious about it. I think people were like, so this is the midlife crisis. This is the one we've all been waiting for, kind of a thing. Kind of a little bit of that. But no, overall, pretty positive.
Some people just questioning why, and I think one of our friends' fathers basically said, "I don't think that's a good idea."
I don't know about that.
Sounds dangerous down there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So hiring a lawyer was a big step. I didn't know you needed a lawyer. How did that come into play?
You don't have to. I think we just wanted to make sure we were doing everything correctly and legally and as efficiently as we could. We didn't want to waste time with the visa applications, the potential or the eventual residential application. And there are firms here that cater to or market to expats that are looking to make this transaction, and they have just packages that you pay a flat rate and they take care of everything, and they have maintenance packages where they check in with you once a year to make sure your status is still good. And with the investor visa that we came in under, we technically have started an SRL, which is their version of an LLC. So we technically own a business. We don't have to actually do anything with said business, but that is a potential that we could start up something or invest in something or use it to purchase property. And
yeah, I think our long game is to become permanent residents. Like we were pretty sure we would love it here, and we wanted that to happen as soon as possible, because once you're a permanent resident, you get more things, right? You're able to be on the public health care. You're able to actually work within the country or for a Costa Rican entity. That can take up to 4 or 5 years, like once your visa's approved, like once you've been here. And so that was why we were very keen on kind of making sure that we got all those ducks in a row so that the visa did get processed as quickly as possible. And then the visa that we came on, like Kevin said, it's called the Inversionista visa. And so you can invest in property, you can invest in a business, you can invest in shares of a business. What's really nice about Costa Rica is you do not have to be a resident to own property here. One of the easiest ways, or one of the cleanest ways, I guess, is once you start this SRL, then you buy property through that SRL, because that helps you establish, you can set up your utilities and your bank accounts and all those types of things until that visa's approved. Like it kind of just gives you a little bit more security along the way.
Wow. So it sounds like the process was pretty simple. Is that meaning you just filed an application? Did they ask any questions about you to prove that you're worthy of said visa, or how does it work?
You have to pledge a certain amount of money that fluctuates to the actual SRL.
What do you mean pledge? Like how much money you'll put in a business?
We just have to sign a promissory note.
But what are you promising? That you'll put money into a business?
Correct. Yeah. That we have so the part of the reason I was saying we bumped up that timeline originally was because it was right now we came down, the promissory note only had to be $150,000. There was potential with the new administration coming in that they would pull that back up to $200,000. It's probably not going to happen, but that was sort of why we bumped it up. So you have this promissory note of $150,000. And essentially what you're saying is, I agree to pay the taxes on this amount of money while I'm here, and that this money is going to do something at some point to better the Costa Rican
you invest in
right, country, like either the country, the people, something to that effect.
Okay, and they don't ask for what the business is going to be or what your idea is. It's all good. Okay, nope. So what else? So the promissory note, and then
we had to do
FBI background check.
We
did have to come here and did we get fingerprinted?
No.
We had to get pictures because we do have to meet you. Like you have to meet with the lawyer. So we did another trip back in March, and we met with our attorneys physically in person for the first time, so that they could make sure we were real people, look at our passports, take all that information, all those kinds.
Power of attorney.
Yeah, you sign power of attorney to them so that they can represent you throughout the visa process. And what's also nice is they'll also help us with anything, any other official things, right? So if we buy a property, they'll help us manage that process, all those things.
Okay. Pretty turnkey. Did you guys expect it to be that quick? Were you ready to make this move? Like, you're going through all this, and when did you think it was going to happen versus when it did?
It's one of those things where I think like putting it out at 2 years, that had the potential to continue to just be a dream. And I kind of felt like, let's just do it. And like the same day we called the attorney was the same day I called our realtor to say, I think we're gonna have to sell the house. It's the same day we started looking into like the situation with our cars. Like, we got to sell the cars. Like, you just have to you have to make like one big decision, and then it's just start making all the decisions after that, basically. So yeah, I mean, it went fast, but it had to.
Yeah, it seems like pretty easy. Were other countries you looked at far more difficult, I would imagine? Or do I just have a completely wrong idea of immigration in general?
I think Costa Rica is one of the easier ones.
They have it set up because they do want the investment. Yeah. So they do make it easier. And I think other countries are starting to follow suit. I do think with the increase in digital work and digital nomads, like, other countries are starting to follow suit as far as like making it easier for people to come. But there is still that line between coming to the country as a tourist or as a temporary digital nomad versus coming in with plans to be there long-term to eventually establish residency. So those are kind of the two differentiators. I think it's a lot easier now. Like, if we only wanted to come here as digital nomads, we originally both had remote jobs. We could have come here just as digital nomads. It's a 2-week application process, and that's it. Then you're just here. Yeah, it's super breezy, but because it does not count towards residency, though. So because we wanted it to count towards residency, that's how we did it. But still easy at the end of the day. And again, the attorneys make that easy because they know what they're doing. If we had to do this on our own, I think it would have been a lot more complicated, and people do it that way. But you see the horror stories of like, it's been 6 years, my visa's still not processed, those kinds of things.
Yeah, or you get scammed somewhere along the way, or something comes up.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a lot of scams. There's also, the Costa Rican, the Pura Vida lifestyle also lends itself to process that's slow here. So you got to roll with it, honestly. And it's not uncommon to submit paperwork, it be wrong, but you don't hear back for another year. And then you're delayed, so yeah, my advice would be if you wanted to do this and establish it long term, if you're looking for residency, hire an attorney.
I want to talk about the Pura Vida lifestyle in a minute, but you said you guys were living the American dream in the States. You had the house, you had your 2 dogs, you had things that you bought that made you happy, but now I'm guessing you sold literally everything you own in order to pull this off, or did you put all your stuff into storage because you may be back? What did you guys do with all your stuff?
So we did a bunch of rounds. We do have a storage unit back home with things that we had a hard time either getting rid of, sentimental pieces, or things that we knew that we eventually wanted to bring down here once we have our own house. Like, we're renting right now, but our intention is to buy a property at some point. Once we have that, we have all of our art from our previous vacations and a lot of sentimental things that we would like to come down here. My kitchen stand mixer, I would love to get down here.
But yeah, we sold everything. We sold the house. We sold our cars. As far as like items and things, we came down here each with 4 suitcases. The dogs had 1 suitcase. And we did it in rounds. So we actually had like an open house going away party where we invited all of our friends and family over and essentially just said, shop the house, take what you want. And I put a bunch of bags out. And it was almost like going into a Home Goods situation where you could take anything you wanted from, silverware to a purse in my closet. I didn't really care because, I knew I wasn't going to bring any of this stuff with me. This was kind of the whole point. Us.
And then, that party, people started showing up and people were a little hesitant and going, are you sure? Like, you don't want this?
You just take your fridge.
Right, exactly.
It took 1 or 2 of our friends from the gym to go, wait, the liquor bottles too? And
yeah. And
all of a sudden it was a free for all.
It was a free for all.
Yeah. And I had a buddy from my old rugby club bring his kid by and just to catch up one more time and say goodbye. And the kid took home like a gold bolo hat and like half of a Halloween costume. And it was just a lot. And I got a nice text from him like 4 days later, like, the kid's still talking about you. Like, I'm glad he got to meet you before you left. And
yeah, that was the other cool thing that I hadn't thought of is now all of our friends, most of our friends have some type of object or piece of furniture or memento from our house that every time they were sending us pictures like, we found a place for it. We're going to think of you all the time. And it was like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's such a great way to do it.
so then after...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. After we did the party, I think the following weekend we started throwing out, advertisements on all the various Facebook groups or whatever, just saying free yard sale. And we woke up on a Sunday morning and drug everything we owned out onto the front lawn, and people came by, and we guys scored blacktop griddles and kegerators and beer fridges and all kinds of stuff that we were happy to see it go. I mean, people were ecstatic, so it was nice to see them not just get trashed.
Why did you not want to sell some of the stuff?
We did list a lot of things for sale.
We listed big things, so we had quite a bit of like antique furniture that we really liked. Also like heavy stuff that I was like, I'm not dragging all this stuff out. Like, we need a plan for this. So yeah, the large items we did, and they went pretty fit. Again, we weren't looking to like make $1 million bucks off of this by any stretch of the imagination. It was more just, how can we efficiently get this out and into the hands of somebody who needs it? Yeah, we very modestly priced any of those types of things to get them out within, we probably got most of that stuff out within 2 weeks.
I think that's such a great way with the party and your friends and letting them have a memento from the house. It just, everybody wins. I love that. How did it feel getting rid of stuff?
Therapeutic.
Really?
It did. Once we made this choice, I am more guilty, I think, than Allie, but previous to making the choice to move down here, I was constantly, I am a big vinyl record collector, and twice a week I'm spending $35-$50 on a couple records that are coming in the mail. And once we made that decision to move down here, it's like, okay, well, you got to stop doing that. Mm-hmm. And it was like cold turkey, but it actually felt pretty good, man.
Yeah. You don't find yourself on Amazon just like scrolling mindlessly for like a weird kitchen knickknack or whatever it might be, but getting rid of everything, especially like once the house was sold and once the cars were gone, like the big things in your life, it's like, oh, okay, so we really only have these 8 suitcases to our name at this point, and that storage unit over there, and like that's it. So it's actually, I thought it would be scary. I thought I would get here and feel like, oh my God, I don't have a place to land if this goes south. But it's the opposite. It's actually like, you have all the options in the world as a result of not having these obligations tied to you anymore. You can do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, what is that about our culture? Is it just a dopamine hit when we buy something new? Are we just bored, like you were describing? We just work these 5 days for the 2 days, and then we want to, I'll give myself a little treat, like a new knickknack for the counter or a new record. What is that about our culture?
Yes, and it was like, I just kept feeling like we were living to like retirement. Well, this will be good in retirement. This will be good in retirement. This will be good. And I was like, it's 25 years from now. Like
20 for me.
20 for Kevin. But I just, it was not appealing, and it just was like never ending. It was just this cycle that was never ending. And I'm 40. My mom died at 46. And so like coming back to that like midlife crisis thing, it was kind of like, I don't think this is a crisis. I think this is heavily evaluating what your life looks like and going like, this ain't what did I want? This ain't it.
All the things that we were programmed for, you have to go to college, you have to get a degree, you have to go work and be loyal to a company and put your 20 years in. We got to the point where, okay, Allie was at an executive level. I was an assistant general counsel for a large corporation, and we came home from that trip and we were just like, man, I don't want to do this anymore.
We got nailed the last, a lot of people, the whole world, right? Like, I think the explosion, I was in software tech, life sciences software tech. And so the last 5-6 years have been bananas, especially specifically within clinical trials. So like when you think about like the COVID vaccine and then the changes in the administration, and there was no safety. Like we had jobs, but we were never safe. we both showed up to work every day going, we could all be let go today. We have no idea. And it was just like, we have quote unquote stability, but we actually have no control over anything at the exact same time. And it was just such like a terrible feeling to be like, I'm killing myself and this could all be taken away tomorrow. And that's like it's just like a sick feeling to be with.
Yeah, my company was actually sold about a month before we left, so I had already made the announcement. But then I think it was about a month that our entire company was purchased by another company, and they've said nobody's going to lose their job, but nobody is ever guaranteed to keep a job in the United States at will employment. So,
my friend wrote a book called "Work Won't Love You Back," and I've been thinking about that title a lot recently. Yes. All the time and investment we put in for very little security, it seems. Now, a lot of people say they want to leave the U.S. because of cost of living. They can find better cost of living in other countries. Was that factored into your decision as well when you look towards getting rid of these jobs and sort of retiring in the near future?
Yeah, 100%. When Allie came down the stairs with her ChatGPT plan, I want
to be very clear about that. That helped me lay out the thing. I did so much research outside of ChatGPT. That just helped me put the plan together so I could show it to him.
Well, hey, look, I'll back you up here because I actually had a recent legal issue that I used ChatGPT for, and it was excellent. Like, that is going to be one of the benefits of the robot providing it is pretty good at providing. You got to double check, but.
Oh yeah. I love my robots. Yes. Trust me.
Okay.
But no, it said at one point, I think she was answering a bunch of questions for it, and it was like, oh wait, we haven't talked about your retirement accounts yet. And once she explained the retirement accounts, it was like, oh yeah, no, you can go ahead and do this.
Yeah. Just you're fine. So the cost of living was a draw. Here's an interesting thing about Costa Rica. Is it the lowest cost of living? Actually, not at all. Within like Central and South America, it's one of the more expensive countries if you're deliberately coming here to look at a lower cost of living. Right now, places like Nicaragua and Panama are sort of edging out Costa Rica because Costa Rica got so touristy in certain areas. So if your goal was to come here and live, like if we wanted to live at Tamarindo, which is one of the common beach destinations in Costa Rica, the cost of living would have been exactly the same as back home. You would be paying through the roof, which is not the point. And it's just been overbuilt up at this point. But that was also why you can come here and have that lower cost of living, but you have to live in different areas. Like, you're not going to have a beachfront home and be able to retire and like call it a day. You're going to pay those prices. So, you just gotta be a little bit more deliberate about it. And you have to, again, I think it comes down to not trying to replicate what you had in the States, but acclimating to the way of life and the culture that Costa Rica has established. And, we can go and we could drive an hour to the Walmart in Liberia, which is the nearest big city where the airport is. And we can buy all of our creature comforts from home and we can pay through the nose for them. And that's going to feel expensive. But if you just shop locally, go to the farmer's market, go to the butcher around the corner, it's a very manageable lifestyle. And so, yeah, I think it can be as expensive or as inexpensive as you want it to be.
That makes sense. You guys landed in San Luis as your town, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did you originally, when Kevin sent me photos, I saw the water and I'm like, man, they're overlooking the coast. But now I realize it's a lake.
Yep.
Which you don't really think about with Costa Rica. You think of the two coasts, Pacific and Caribbean. Don't think of lake life there. I want to talk about that. How did you pick that spot? Was that where you went for your wedding, or did this area come up differently?
This area came up differently. I knew that the beach towns, the coast would be way too hot for Kevin and for the dogs. They're lovely. You go and, imagine living in the tropics full time with essentially no break from the heat at that elevation as well. So I was like pretty certain that wasn't going to work out for us. And so the beautiful thing about Costa Rica is there are 11 or 12 different climates here, all sorts of elevations. So you can find areas that are breezier, that are colder. Some areas get snow here. So you kind of have to do your research, figure that out. Lake Arenal is the largest lake in Costa Rica. It is man-made, and that's a fun little story. But there's a whole city at the bottom of Lake Arenal. It's an interesting story.
A lost city.
Yeah, a whole city. It was originally Arenal, and then they had to flood it because Lake Arenal is like one of the primary hydroelectric areas in the country. It provides now I think it's 16 or 17% of the electricity for the whole country. But so they flooded this whole area and then
moved the town to what is now Nuevo
Arenal. And so, in looking at this, I saw I was just reading it's higher elevation. You get this crazy Venturi effect off of the lake. And so it's world renowned for windsurfing and kite surfing. And so I knew we would have this constant breeze. And so I started just looking in this area all around the lake. The lake is huge.
33 square miles.
33 square miles. I started looking into it, and the properties out here are larger, and you almost always have some land with it, and there's fruit trees, and the elevation that you're at, and we're very big bird nerds. So just the flora, the fauna was very attractive, and the climate was very attractive to start out. And we thought, okay, we got to double down on this. We'll start here, because they do tell you, don't buy a property. You could buy a property immediately, but don't do that until you kind of go throughout the country and figure out what's going to work for you. Not only weather-wise, but community-wise. They're all very different. And so that was what prompted us to start in this area. And once I started looking at rental properties, because, again, it's a little hard to do this from outside the country. Everything here is done on WhatsApp and Facebook. You can imagine having to do all of your research through those two channels. You're coming across a lot of different things. But by an absolute stroke of fate, I guess, a woman named Sheila reached out to me. Sheila lived in San Luis with her husband, Jeff. And Sheila and Jeff were originally from Wisconsin. They had been in Costa Rica for 12 years. They had followed their daughter down here. Her daughter was a digital worker. And they were making plans to leave Costa Rica and go back to Wisconsin. I think eventually to continue traveling on with their daughter. They were looking for somebody to long-term sort of steward the house that they have, and deliberately reached out to us and sort of said, we think you guys would be a good fit. It's not the same sort of landlord lessee relationship that we're used to in the U.S. You should be taking care of the property, and there's courtesies that you should always apply regardless of what you're paying and those kinds of things. So we came down in March, and we were able to check out the property and meet Sheila and Jeff, and we fell in love with the house, with the property, with the town, with the people. And so, yeah, complete fate and luck that worked out the way it did.
What elevation are you guys at?
That's a really good question. We're not too high. We have decent elevation because we know. So fun fact. So the water company here is called Asada. So if you sort of picture at home, you have water companies and electric companies, and we're all the whole town's on a group text with the water company, basically. And so because of our elevation, a lot of times they'll send a message and they'll say, we have to shut off the water tomorrow from 1 to 3 at Don Fernandez's house to Doña house down here. There's no addresses. So they're just naming houses where the water's got to get shut off. But because we're slightly up on a hill, which is nice, a lot of times we don't get impacted by that. So we are higher up in San Luis. We overlook the lake.
According to the internet, you guys are about 4,000 feet above sea level.
Oh, is it? Okay.
According to the internet. Yeah.
For the internet, that is
which is quite nice. Quite nice for the climate and everything. And
lovely.
The breeze is lovely, man. Mm-hmm. Every single night, every single day, it's pretty constant. There's a wind power farm that we can see from our back deck that is just, as the sun sets, it hits the back of the wind farm, and it's beautiful, man.
It is.
So the pictures you have sent me so far include many tropical birds, a bunch of bananas that you harvested yesterday. So I see you guys are into the. Can you? I've never tried this, but let's try it. Can you just pick up your computer and give me a tour, a small tour?
Yeah.
You can see what you're working with here. Describe the place to us.
Right now we're in the second guest. This is our guest room. Both bedrooms are identical. They both have bathrooms with en-suites and stuff. And then you can see in the guest room, every room has the view of the lake, which is really bright behind me, so it's hard to see. But if we come out into the space, which, by the way, everything in a lot of homes in Costa Rica come fully furnished because it's so difficult to import and export things because it's very expensive. So people don't want to take things with them, so they kind of just leave things behind, which is nice. This is the second master. So this is where our bed is not made. This is where Kevin and I sleep. It's a king bed, by the way, which is like the other crazy thing. Could not believe. Like, again, just the luck. Kevin's a big guy, you know. And then here's the ensuite here. And then here's, like, really the best part. There's a downstairs. I won't go downstairs. That's kind of a whole thing. But this is the view. Like, it's super bright, but that's the lake right there.
I love it.
Yeah. So those are our neighbors. And then down here is our, like, little courtyard where we hang our laundry. And our banana trees are over there. And, yeah, we just literally sit on this balcony and, like, work or read. And, yeah. It's nice. And you get the breeze comes all through the house. And at first, like, when we first got here, I was like, is there air conditioning on? Like, it was that comfortable. So, yeah, that's pretty much.
So you guys don't need AC at all?
No, there's no AC in the house. A lot of places around here don't do AC for that reason. Like, sometimes you'll have mini splits in the bedroom for people, like, if it's really uncomfortable. Down towards the beach areas, definitely AC, that kind of thing.
It seems like a super sweet place.
Yeah, and I mean, coming back to the cost of living with this, we're paying a third of what we were paying in the United States to live here.
That's so nice. Oh, my God. All right, let's go back to the day you left. Like, tell us about that. And, like, the day you left the States and then arriving in Costa Rica. What do you remember about the last couple hours in the States or being at the airport?
So we had a 7:30 a.m. flight out of Newark. We left our house the night before. We stayed at a hotel over north of Princeton a little bit. And then, because, we didn't have a bed in our house anymore, so we had to go sleep somewhere else. Got in the rental car, drove up. Allie hopped out with all of the bags.
Oh, my God.
And both dogs, and I took and dropped the rental car back off. And then we found out that we had pulled up to the wrong area. So with our, what felt like 17 bags and two dogs, we had to...
you guys had four bags each?
So we had, I think we had a total of 10 bags maybe.
10 bags.
With the dogs.
And two dogs.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then the check-in process was a little dicey. I
was sweating it out because I had never flown with dogs before. They had never flown before. First off, we ended up flying out on our anniversary. We did not realize that until, like, it was way too far. And I mean, we're on the plane. We're like, oh, happy anniversary.
That's such a great gift to each other. The start of a new life.
Exactly. Could not
That's amazing.
have planned that better. Yeah, once we got to the airport, it was so... You didn't even have time to be emotional about anything because it was so hectic and I was so stressed out about it. Kevin had to haul... I mean, we flew with 10 bags, and we're not saying, like, small bags. These are big, max capacity bags that we could get. Kevin was hoisting them. I have both dogs, so, like, I've put both dogs in their carriers, and I'm wheeling them around like they're tiny infants because they're getting restless. They've never done this before. And I was also stressed out because airlines can be finicky about the size of dogs in certain carriers, and our one dog's, like, kind of tall. And I was like, oh, my God, if they don't let him on this plane, like, I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have to stay back. They would have to go without us. I would have to stay back with our other dog, find another airline that would potentially let us take the dog. Luckily, it was a non-issue, and we got through. And we bought an extra seat, so there was nobody between us. The dogs actually did very well on the flight. People were actually very complimentary. They were, we didn't even know those dogs were here. I'm like, thank God. But yeah, the boys did great, and then landing.
Breeze through customs.
That's another cool thing, yeah. And, you just kind of side somebody some paperwork when you land. And we got a lot of looks when we landed because we had so much luggage. And some people were like, you are packing a lot for vacation. And we were like, oh, we're moving here. And they were like, really? And everybody that was there that was clearly on vacation was like, that's amazing. Tell us everything. Just like commentary about leaving the U.S. for various reasons. Everybody had, exactly. And so a lot of people were very supportive about it from that angle. But then, same thing, getting all the bags onto the thing. And
oh my God, in Liberia as breezy and cool as it is here, it's the exact opposite.
It's so hot in Liberia.
It's so hot and so humid. I was in a pair of khaki pants and a normal t-shirt, and I was soaked all the way through by the time I finally got in the car and started driving towards our new house.
Yeah, because we had to hire a van to help us with the bags, but we had also purchased a car that they were meeting us at the airport to give us.
Well, how did you do that?
So there are car dealerships in Costa Rica that very much cater to expats, and they understand that, there are taxis, and I do believe there are Uber and things like that. However, you really can't live here without a car, and particularly without an SUV with 4x4. It doesn't have to be an SUV, but something 4x4 all-wheel drive. Not all the roads are paved. Our road to get up to our house is about a half mile long, and it's a dirt path.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Yes.
So I started researching online, and I found this one company, Trinity Motors. Reached out to them, and they said, "Yeah, this is our current inventory. Take a look. Tell us what you're interested in, and if there's something that's not on there, we can potentially acquire it for you." We settled on a 2018 Toyota RAV4 hybrid and wired the money. I think twice. There was like a deposit, and then we had to go back and pay for the rest of it. And then they literally show up the day you're at the airport. They monitor your flight, and I signed some paperwork. They took a picture of my passport and handed me the title to the car, and
now we have a car.
Hooked us up with insurance and everything. And so we got Allie. So we got Allie all the way to the van, loaded all the bags in the van with the dogs and her. Driver takes her. I go back to meet for the car. Having a hard time connecting with this guy. So luckily there was, I never told you this story. There was a outdoor brew pub right outside of the airport. So I'm like, well, I got a few minutes. This guy hasn't reached out to me yet. So I grabbed the draft and sat down and took a sip. And all of a sudden the guy's writing to me immediately that he's coming down the aisle through Custer at the departure gate. I was like, man, so I got to chug this beer and throw it away. And
gotta chug it. Not leave it, by the way. Gotta chug it.
There's only one option in that situation.
Exactly.
And you made the right decision.
Yeah, the craft beers are not cheap beers.
Yes.
So you had already seen the place because you had come down earlier and visited. So there wasn't like any necessarily shock value to seeing your residence when you arrived, but there must have been some feelings you guys had inside when you arrived at your new home. Can you describe that, arriving and knowing that you're here to stay?
I think there's this period in the beginning where it still feels like vacation. Even though you've made all these decisions, you still we've only ever been here on vacation, so it doesn't matter. You come in, you still associate it with feeling like you're on vacation. So it takes a bit of time to realize no, this is like life now. And there's a lot of relief when you walk through. A lot of it's just relief because it takes so much to get to that point. It's emotionally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. There's just so many logistical things that we had been taking care of for the last 6 months leading up to this that you kind of just walk in and you're like, oh, okay, we made it. We're here. Cool. And then, I think it kind of slowly sets in over time. I still wake up in the morning and even when we're in rainy season right now, you wake up in the morning and it's pouring and I'm like, we live here. It's still that feeling. Granted, we're just at a month having officially been here, but I don't know if you had any.
The house, like we said, was fully furnished, and there's a lot of history to the house that we've uncovered through the people who we're renting from, as well as some locals here. But I've enjoyed very much just kind of exploring the property, exploring the house. The original owner was apparently a huge audiophile, and there are thousands and thousands of quality CDs and albums that are here. I don't have a CD player yet, so that's killing me. I can't listen to them. But Allie's going home for a wedding in a couple of weeks, and
I'll bring a CD player back. We have a CD player in the car, though, so we get to listen to it there.
I love that. It's kind of a makeup for your having to give away your records, too. Hey, you got me back?
Yep,
you're back.
Okay, sorry. I'd say it's kind of a makeup for having to give away your records. Now you get a whole CD collection.
It's exactly
man.
it.
Like
That's the
Sonny
universe
Rollins
right
just
there.
passed, so I found this guy's got like 5 Sonny Rollins albums. So I was like, yep, grab one of those, listen to him for a couple of days in the car.
That's so fun. Okay, so what do you guys do day to day? You're retired now or what?
We're calling it semi-retired, I think. So we initially came down here and we knew we had some runway. We knew we just like didn't want to work right away. Just take some time off, decompress, settle in, figure out the lay of the land, get into some kind of a routine. But we usually wake up, we go to the gym at like 8 a.m., we take class, and then we come back and we have some like amazing, delicious
This
food.
morning was a delicious papaya. And a really good coffee because the coffee here is amazing.
Yeah, great coffee. And it kind of varies from there. Like sometimes if we want to go into town to get something, we'll kind of like explore the town a little bit. I did start lightly working. I do like AI reviews, just like hourly. It's very like basic kind of. So it's like low pressure. I don't like talk to anybody. I don't have meetings, nothing like that. And read. We had like interests that we wanted to get more into or like sink our teeth into a bit more. Kevin's big into cooking.
I've been cooking three meals a day, I think, every single day for the most part. I've been making bread, which I've never done before because in the pantry I found this bread machine that I think was built in 1970.
It's awesome.
And it still kicks ass.
You guys were saying that the food quality, you sent me a note saying like you eat the same things but feel way better than you did in the States, so you were appreciating the quality of food. Can you speak to that?
I think it's just, the lack of chemicals, the lack of hormones, the growth hormones and things, like a kilo of ground beef here, like it smells good, man. Just raw ground beef for some reason.
Yeah, like it's not
good.
coming from anywhere far. It's all coming down the street. And so there's just none of that like packaging stuff that gets factored in as far as like having to ship it across the country and those kinds of things. And it's crazy. I eat way more here than I eat at home. Me eating 3 meals a day, like sure, but it would be not in the same way. And I feel like I'm constantly eating here and I have never felt better. It just things like you don't have like the lower back pain is gone and you don't get like bloated after you eat. And I remember we came here and I ate a burger I would never order a burger typically. And I ordered a burger. I really wanted a burger. I was like, oh, this is a big burger. I finished the entire thing and I finished the fries with it. I could have gone for a jog after it. Like I was still like, this is fine. This is great. It is crazy how good we feel all the time.
Yeah, the preservatives I think are insane here in the U.S. and even stuff you think's fresh, like a green apple. Apparently they like rub stuff on the outside because they're shipping it, and if you don't wash it all off, you're ingesting it. I just learned with chicken, there's something called air-chilled chicken. Do you guys know about this?
I've seen the labels before we left, but I never really understood what it was.
When they slaughter the chickens, a lot of times to cool down the bodies because the meat will like spoil or whatever, they spray it with a chemical. The better way to do it is to air chill the meat. I guess they put it in some kind of cooling fridge or whatever. I don't know exactly how they do it, but instead of spraying the chemical, the air chill just means it's naturally or cooled without chemicals. I tried it and it tastes so different. It's incredibly different, the taste of just regular chemical chicken. So it's really sad. Like it's so hard to eat well here, even when you think you are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest shock is like we were very trying to make sure we're healthy and did the best we could at home, honestly. And like I said, the diet itself, like what we physically eat here is exactly what we ate at home. It's just 10 times better.
So you guys are taking this R&R time, which I support for sure. But your plan, I think if I remember, is to start a food truck. Is that something you're still going to do?
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
Once we got down to when I was picturing Uvita the entire time, which is where we visited the first time. And I think that would have been a much more viable option business down there. Here, the idea of trying to drive a truck on these roads in the mountains is
never going to happen.
No.
Okay.
The other thing is food trucks here are not, there's not a standardized like set of regulations for food trucks. So it's very loosey-goosey as far as like your municipality gets to decide. They're pretty strict about where you set up because, they don't want you taking away from other businesses, that kind of thing. But I think what we realized when we had come back was don't actually decide what you want the business to be. Like, wait, see what the town needs. There might be businesses here that we can invest in that already exist. That would be the better route to go versus starting a brand new business. So we're kind of just letting the environment dictate what might happen. And it might not be any of it. It might be just buy a property instead at some point.
Okay, yeah, because you're on the hook to start a business, presumably by your visa, or it's kind of...
We don't, as far as we understand it, we don't actually have to do anything. We just have to pay the taxes for the business.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
great.
I
mean, if we do start a business, the caveats with that are, like, we cannot work for our own business. We can manage our business, but we would have to hire all local TICOs, which I'm super happy to do that.
Is TICO the word for local?
Yeah.
Yeah, so TICOs and TICAs, gringos and gringas. We are gringos and gringas.
So a TICO is just any guy from Costa Rica, TICA, any girl.
Correct.
Wow, that's very regional.
It is.
I also think Costa Rica is so unique because, kind of like Hawaii with aloha, they have this saying that means hello and goodbye, but is so much more. Pura vida, you said it already. So why don't you tell us a bit about that? What have you guys learned about Pura vida?
The Pura vida lifestyle it's very easygoing. It can be both a positive thing and a negative thing. Like,
right.
You know, if the dishwasher, we don't even have
a dishwasher, but
if the oven breaks, you know, somebody would basically just go, Pura vida,
Pura vida.
Look at where you live.
Right.
Don't complain about that.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta, like, we have a family of, I love them. We, like, have a family of geckos that live in the house, and I'm like, oh, Pura vida, like, this is our pest control, great, you know? And so it kind of just means, like, rolling with it. And I do find that they use it. I don't hear it quite as much where we live now. You hear it a lot in the tourist areas or in the expat areas, or, like, they'll say it kind of jokingly around here. But yeah, I would say
it's very much a national slogan kind of thing that the country and the government does promote as, like, a marketing.
Yes, yeah, but I would say, like, even if you don't hear Pura vida, like, they embody Pura vida, which, you know, so it is just very. We'll figure it out. It is what it is.
I like it. When I went to Costa Rica once, this is going back probably a decade now, I went on a rafting trip on the Pequari River and visited some of the coastal towns like Jaco. And I remember that, you know, in Hawaii we use aloha, but it's more, I don't know. Pura vida, I felt like they said it way more often. You would ask them a question and they would answer, and you'd say, okay, thanks. And they would say, Pura vida, so you're welcome. Pura vida as a welcome. Or you might just say, like, hey, I'm from Colorado. And they're like, Pura vida. Like,
yeah,
they would use this, like, that's cool. I felt like they used it a lot more. So I remember Pura vida, and I was looking up some stuff because, like I said, it's been a long time since I've been there. But one other thing I really enjoyed was going to the sodas. Have you guys been to a soda?
Couple of them, yep.
Yep. Can you describe for people what a soda is and what goes on there?
Soda is basically a family-run restaurant that is usually open for breakfast through an early dinner. They don't have a large menu, but a lot of them have very similar menus where it's like the typical breakfast, the typical lunch, the typical dinner, and it always involves rice and beans and a salad and some sort of meat, a casado.
Casado, yeah. That's the name for the dish, the casado?
The casado is like the typical lunch where you would get either beef, chicken, pork chop, or vegetables or seafood. And then it always comes with fried plantains, white rice, black beans, and some
plantains.
Sort of...
They're so good. We don't really eat them in the States at all.
No.
They're so underutilized. They
really are. And it's crazy how many different things you can do with them. But yeah.
The other night I just like diced them. And then this was a dessert. You dice them, just fry them in butter, 2 or 3 minutes on each side. And then I thought I had a can of condensed milk to drizzle on top, but we didn't. So I just threw some cinnamon on there and delicious.
That sounds so good. Yeah, you say you've been cooking 3 meals a day. Are you getting into the local style, or are you making more like comfort food from home? What are you cooking?
We've been doing a ton of tacos because, you know, we go to the butcher 2 or 3 times a week. You get your ground beef, you get your chicken. I haven't ventured outside of that yet.
So I'm sure you guys know this, but just recounting some facts too. I was dorking out. Let's see. Costa Rica is widely included in one of the most mega diverse countries on Earth. It occupies only 0.03% of the Earth's surface, but contains roughly 5% of all global biodiversity. So it's bigger countries like Brazil and Australia have more biodiversity, but it's kind of heralded as one of the smallest countries by land area, but extreme biodiversity within that. You know, the jungles, the two coasts, etc. So you guys going to explore? You're going to go check out the rainforest? I mean, it sounds like you're kind of in a rainforest area.
Yeah. We're technically in a cloud forest. That's what Tiburon is considered, a cloud forest. But yeah, we haven't been to the Caribbean side for sure. We want to check out the Caribbean coast. It's a very different experience from the Pacific coast. It's more like Afro-Caribbean versus, I don't know how you would describe the Pacific coast.
Not that,
yeah. We haven't really explored any of the larger, like we haven't explored San Jose downtown or anything like that.
We've gone around the lake. That we've visited smaller towns all around the lake so far. We plan to go down to Perez Zeledon to spend a weekend down there.
That's another kind of like up and coming, very jungle, higher elevation area where people are starting to invest, and the towns are sort of starting to build up a little bit.
And the woman that we came down with the first time who ran that treat, Danielle Brody, she does it a couple of times a year, and it's always at the same hotel down in Uvita. And we're planning on, taking a road trip and staying not with them, but down there to visit with our friends from the gym and bring the dogs with us. So we have some trips planned, yeah.
Do you guys have any local friends yet where you're chilling with and practicing Spanish?
Yes. So we have there's an expat group. So when we came down in March, we stayed at an Airbnb on a farm. We stayed in their casita, and their names were Patty and Dexter, and they are expats, and they were very excited for us. They knew we were coming to move here. So when we officially moved down here, we actually ended up running into Dexter at a brewery that we were at. And then he had a bunch of friends there. He introduced us to all of his friends. So we got kind of brought into this expat group. And so we're actually going to have our first dinner party kind of Saturday night at someone's house. And then also weirdly, the world is so small. One of my girlfriends from home, Steph, her cousin lives 8 minutes away from us. She married a Tico. She was a nurse in the States, and she moved down here. They just had a kid about 6 or 7 months ago. She's same age as us. They're wonderful people. Her husband, Nelson, grew up in our neighborhood that we live in now. His mom is actually our neighbor. And so they invited us over for a barbecue a couple of weeks ago. But it's just so crazy to think that 8 minutes away we have a friend that is from our area. So it's kind of nice that we get some of the expat stuff. Obviously, we're making friendships with some of the locals, and then also people where we're from, from the Philadelphia area that have kind of popped up here and are living a very different life from how expats will live. They're a lot more ingrained, obviously, in the local community in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a great way, too, if your friend is married to a local boy, to just get integrated and have the comfort of knowing the person, and their background, but then, getting involved with the locals, too.
He already said if anybody in San Luis gives you a hard time, just tell them you know Nelson.
Love that. Have you guys got a hard time from anybody?
No. Everybody is incredibly welcoming. Because I don't think we're in such a high touristy area, not a lot of the locals speak English, so it's always kind of fun to try to communicate, and you get that awkward laugh while you're trying to figure out what the hell people are saying to you and what you should be saying back. But everybody's just been, you walk in a room, everyone says buenas immediately, and
especially we, as we learned from my friend's husband, Nelson, he was like, we're very memorable, right? We're gringos, right? As he said, he's like, you're white, but I am very, very white. And I am very pale skin, obviously. I know this is a podcast. Very pale skin. And so people begin to recognize, we shop at the same butcher every week, those kinds of things. So when we come in, they're starting to recognize our faces and, realize, like I said, that we're permanent looking to be permanent parts of the community versus like, we're staying here in an Airbnb on our way to La Fortuna, which is like the nearest sort of tourist thing that we would go to.
That makes total sense. Do you recommend Duolingo, or do you feel like your year could have been spent better? Because you said a year you were using Duolingo exclusively, and now you're in a Spanish-speaking country. So what's
Still
the
struggling.
verdict?
I mean, once a friend of mine showed me that you can do a practice session, which is super easy, just vocabulary to keep your streak alive. I kind of got lazy, so that was on me. It got to the point where it was check a box as opposed to I'm really getting into this and going through it. That's completely on me. But I kept saying, the more words I know, the more vocabulary I know, the better I will be when I get down here. And then it turns out that was bullshit.
But you'll learn more in the next 2 months than you did the whole year, probably.
That is the plan, yeah. So we're I practice with the butcher. He practices his English with me. We hold things up, and he says it in Spanish. I say it in English. The ladies at the gym have been fantastic.
Oh.
The instructor, she's great. She I guess has to put glasses on to be able to see her phone. But then if she wants to communicate with us, she uses the Google Translate app, and you always know when she's coming to say something to you because she's got her glasses.
She got her glasses on to come over to show you something.
Oh, that's hilarious. Or maybe you should take a lesson with a local person, like local lessons.
We have the name of a tutor that we haven't reached out to her yet, but yeah, the plan is to hire somebody. But there is a lot of like people will just kind of put out there, Monday afternoon, we're going to be at this cafe practicing Spanish. Come by.
Yeah, that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
I was reading too, this is interesting, that Costa Rica does not have a military.
No, they're relying on the U.S. military.
I know, which is the part that's unsaid, right?
But, right, yeah.
They purposely get rid of it. I think it was in the 70s. They basically disbanded it, and with the intent of investing more in the country and the infrastructure. So there's a lot to be said about it.
Yeah. Costa Rica abolished its military in 1948 and redirected funding toward education and healthcare. But I think that was around the time they joined the United Nations, so they knew that if they got attacked, and I guess who's going to attack Costa Rica at this point in the world history? I guess no reason for that. You never know in the future. But, yeah, I always thought that was interesting. Is there any other surprises like for life down there? You said there's national health care you guys can take advantage of. What are some perks and maybe possible worries you have about long-term life down there?
So we have the 2 dogs. This is an example. I'll give this example and then the prescription example because these are the 2 wildest ones to me. But so we have our 2 dogs. They're small. Small dogs always have dental problems. At home we would get the dental cleanings. I mean, soup to nuts between the 2 of them, it would run us somewhere between $800 and $900. They were due for another cleaning. I thought it cannot be more expensive down there. Let's just see how this works out, right? So we met with our vet. One of the first people we met when we got down here, Dr. Mario Cruz, and
he speaks English.
He speaks English, yes.
Nice. Okay.
He speaks English. And we booked him for dental appointments. He basically took home like 2 days later, the entire thing, anesthesia, meds, both dogs, teeth coming out, full thing, $145.
Oh.
And so like that was just like, what?
And their teeth were
they were better.
Clean. The whole time they were getting cleaned at home, they were still coming back with plaque on.
Yeah.
They are shiny white.
They were wagon tails when they came out. Like they weren't. It was wonderful. And they sent us home with all of the medicine from there that they needed. We didn't need to go to a pharmacy. Speaking of which, just one of the first things we also had to figure out when we got here was, we're both on prescriptions. And obviously we no longer have healthcare. And so, you walk into the pharmacy and I'm not really sure what to expect. And so I'm on Prozac and I'm on Wellbutrin. And so those are meds I take every single day. And I come in and I'm, usually at home, it's like I get the text the day before I can pick it up. Okay, your med's ready today. You only get it for 30 days and it's $1 million. And I come here and they're like, how many months do you want? It was half the price of what I paid at home. There was no insurance to go through. There was none of the, they had to order some meds for me. That was about but 2 days later they were there.
And they sent her a text.
They texted me. They were like, oh yeah, your meds came in. Just like, come on by, pop in. And half the cost, 0 red tape. And like, it's not like that with every drug. So like narcotics, barbiturates, those are obviously still regulated here. But things that like blood pressure medicine, like just go in and buy it. You don't need a prescription from a doctor if you're already on it. And it's so much easier. There's so much less red tape about stuff like that down here. That was a delight to find out.
That's so nice. And it's the same exact drug, but half the price.
Same exact drug.
That's so crazy. How is that? Like, I don't even get that, how that's possible.
Insurance companies.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's...
Yeah, you realize a for-profit healthcare system might not...
Yeah, be doing us any favors. Imagine that. Well, so what are you guys going to do today? You know, what's on the agenda?
Rain just started, so we'll probably let that kind of go for the next... I mean, it could stop in 5 minutes.
That's got to be peaceful, though, in the rainforest to have rain.
It's absolutely lovely.
It's lovely.
I didn't realize it, but the Phillies did start right as we were starting. So,
oof.
He's going to watch the Phillies.
I've been listening to the Phillies radio broadcast in Spanish to practice, and their team is awesome, the broadcast team. One guy is Latin American and speaks like with a heavy accent, and the other guy is this like 70-year-old white dude that lived in Central America for a while, and his Spanish is very easy to understand because he speaks like a gringo, but he's describing the game, which is great, and then he'll often speak in Spanglish, like they'll just start speaking in Spanglish. So it's very intro-friendly, and you know I'm a baseball nerd. So when I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to really practice, I'll just put on that, and it's awesome, man. Highly recommend.
I will look into that for sure.
Yeah. I started watching, I watched Suits. We watched that show, and down here you can, they'll frequently play it, and you can do English like audio with the Spanish subtitles, and you can also invert that. So that's been really helpful because they also speak very like in a very structured way on the show. So it's like it's very helpful that way. So totally get that.
And we watched the show already.
And we watched the show, so we kind of know what's happening, which is nice.
I'm just so envious of you guys because one of the things I love when I'm learning Spanish is being somewhere where they speak it, because literally anything you do turns into the most exciting adventure. Like you're in line at the grocery store and, okay, I'm next. What am I going to say? What are they going to say? What did they say to the person before me? Am I going to get the number right? It's just really exciting. And all you're doing is buying toilet paper or whatever. And it's like, ooh, this is going to be great. And you get an adrenaline rush from it. It's like you're getting out of your comfort zone. It's so fun.
Even just getting like, you don't think like walking by somebody in an aisle and trying to, those types of things are just getting to use those like very breezy human like interactions without feeling so robotic and like making them reflexive. It's fun.
Well, you guys are an inspiration to everybody because like I said, I think a lot of people dream of doing what you're doing and you've done it. The hard part's over. Now you just got to live it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what you guys do the next half year or year, and you'll be like true natives.
That's the hope.
You said that you moved here on your on your anniversary. So is this new honeymoon for you guys?
In a way, actually.
I mean, almost every year for the first 8 or 9 years of our marriage, we did typically take a trip for our anniversary. You know, I think the first year was Key West, fifth year was Vegas. And so, yeah, I think this is it from here on out, because I don't think we can afford to travel like we used to.
Well, not only that, but we don't have the major stressors on us anymore. You know, like we're not, you know, mumbling about the mortgage, or we got to go to this thing, or I got to fly out. I have this trip for work, or I'm going to be on calls until, you know, like when that's removed. And COVID was a great test, you know, as far as like, it's just us, you know, being cooped up in a house together for 2 years. Basically, we knew we wouldn't have an issue being a bit removed until we were more settled. So we spent a lot of time together for sure. But we've also figured out how to have our individual time.
How is that?
MLBTV.com.
Oh, you're okay.
There's a baseball.
I pictured you like out back chopping wood or something.
Yeah.
In your tank top, which I see now is your outfit of choice all the time. The tank top. 8 suitcases of tank tops.
Pretty much.
I love it.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm very proud of his arms, as he should be.
I got a couple of hoodies I brought down.
Yeah, it gets cold at night, I bet.
It does. Yeah.
A little chilly. Well, it's great because you guys are in such proximity. I don't know if you've been to South America before or any of the other Central American countries, but you're right there. And if you don't want to spend the money, just getting in your car and driving across Costa Rica will be such a freaking adventure. Unknown roads into the jungles, into the rainforests, and finding different places. The locals give you recommendations on where to go. I think that could be pretty exciting. Do you guys, as we closed, have any advice for other people who are thinking about doing this or dream of doing this?
Definitely
do your research.
Get your finances in check.
Ask the robot.
Ask the robots. The robots will tell you.
Now, when you say get your finances in check, like, let's not gloss over that, because I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, you know, if I could go for the investor permit like you could, I would, or whatever. But what does that mean? Do you have to have saved a ton of money to do this, or do you think it's possible to do it on a more budget?
I think you can do it on a more budget-friendly way. It kind of depends on what your goals are, like, when you get here. If your intention is to retire, you're going to need more money saved, I think, than you intend, right? Because a lot of stuff pops up. Right now, as an example, the colones, which is the local currency here, the dollar is very weak against the colones. And so we're getting half as much as we would with the dollar than we might have in 2022. So you have to pay attention to those things. And then that, and you know, if you do hire an attorney, the expenses for hiring the attorney, the expenses for the visa applications. It's not wild, but all of these things sort of add up over time. And then importing and exporting things, those things are expensive. Cars are expensive here because the type of car you need. So like, you know, we bought that 2018. That's practically a brand new car here. So like those types of things, I mean, you're going to pay double what you would expect for some things, but then you'll pay an eighth of what you would expect for other things. So it kind of evens out. You just kind of need to understand what your plan's going to be. If your plan is to come here and get a job, that ain't it. Don't expect to have a job. Like, expect to have your revenue income planned when you get here. You're not going to get hired locally if you're not a resident. So definitely that. And then from like a emotional or mental place, and this is true of a lot of things, there can be a right place and a right time, but honestly, like, you just got to take the first step and do it. And if it's going to feel crazy, people are going to look at you crazy. But as long as you're confident in, and you haven't overly romanticized it, there's an element of that. As long as you're very realistic about what you're getting into, don't listen to there's a lot of naysayers when you start to do it. And a lot of people will tell you why it might not work or what the problem might be. And that might be true, but it might not be the most important thing for you.
Yeah, I remember when I moved to California, this is 2 decades ago now, but just classic, get in your car from Philly, move out to California. I was so excited, but everyone I told was like, oh, well, wait till you see what your taxes are going to be out there, or, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, God, you're so miserable.
Right.
Jeez.
It's a very uncomfortable feeling to think that you don't have to be, for others, I think, that they don't have to be stuck in the thing that they've built if they're not happy about it. And I think it can ruffle some feathers on some people personally to see people taking ownership of that part of their life without, like, unapologetically too, regardless of whether or not it fits what they think we should be doing. I mean, I would just say, be confident in that, and you'll figure it out. And like, be careful what you watch on Facebook too. Not everything is as scary as Facebook makes it seem.
Such a liberating feeling to know that you can do it. You know, you can 100%. Make a big decision and just do it. And I think what you said is true. Like, probably to do what you guys are doing to get the residency, it's a lot more investment than to just come be a remote worker. Now with those kind of visas, people can do this, try it out, see what they like about it. They don't have to sell the house. You know, you can just do it part-time.
For Costa Rica, the tourist visa got extended to 6 months. It used to be 90 days. You can come down here for 6 months, rent a house for 6 months, not do anything different at home, keep all your stuff, and really figure out if you can do this long term. So, definitely don't be afraid to do things like that.
Were you guys, I know a lot of people are moving to Mexico now, Mexico City and the coastal towns. Did you look at Mexico at all? Was that a lot more complicated?
We didn't actually. Nothing against Mexico. It just didn't really come up. It was one of those things where Costa Rica just spoke to us so heavily.
We wake up and there's parrots and toucans and monkeys in the trees outside. And, I don't know that we have gotten that everywhere in different countries. And it's just, I mean, I wake up every morning with a smile on my face. So
There's monkeys where you are?
Howler monkeys.
Howler
man.
monkeys, you can hear them every morning. They sound insane. I don't know. Have you ever heard howler monkeys?
It's like a jaguar, right? It sounds like a...
It's like,
Yeah.
that's that actual noise. And they're this big. And you're like,
Tiny.
First heard them, we were like, what is that? Where is
We
that
thought it
coming
was some
from?
sort of livestock.
We thought it was livestock. We thought it was like boars giving birth or something. No, there's a family of monkeys. We can see them from our kitchen, and they like kind of just come between the trees that kind of surround the house.
Do they mess with you?
No, they don't really come out of the trees. They're really only concerned about each other. But no, they don't care.
So if you like left a drink on the porch, they won't come mess with it, or...
They'll come and take your bananas, but
Yeah,
They
they'll
will
take
come
your
and
bananas.
bananas. And I think some of the capuchin monkeys are a little bit more raccoonish. Yeah.
Nice. Well put. Yeah, they'll come and steal your stuff. So those bananas you just harvested, it looks like you had 100 bananas. You
Yes.
got to protect them from the monkeys.
that thing was heavy, man.
Yeah, we have dwarf banana trees in our yard. So they're lower to the ground, so I think they're not as appealing to them because they like to be up high. But when we first moved in, we had a bunch of bananas that we had lost to the ants. It fell, and we didn't get it in time. And we had no idea. We're learning all of this on the fly. So then we were watching this other banana tree. They have pups that come off of them, and I'm like, that one's going to be next. We got to keep an eye on that one. And it started to get heavier and heavier and heavier, and still a little bit too early. And it ended up falling yesterday, so we had to harvest it. And now they're ripening in our garage. They're hanging while they ripen because they'll continue to ripen off the branch. Just
As stressful as your corporate job, tracking banana ripeness, right?
I'm washing my hands a lot more. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm so excited for you guys. When can I come visit?
Anytime you want. We're sitting in your guest room right now.
Beautiful. I can't wait. I know I'll give you guys a grace period to settle in, get to know the area, and then I definitely want to come down. Sounds awesome.
So.
Anything we missed?
So we've had some great meals at various restaurants. There's this great German place across the lake from us. Right at the bottom of our hill is this place called Brises that's just been dynamite, open for lunch and dinner. We love going into Tileran and Tronadora and trying the sodas. And just trying to get to know the lay of the land and figure out what our life's going to be for the rest of our lives.
Well, we'll have to have you guys back on in like a year.
Definitely.
And we'll do the whole podcast in Spanish.
Except for me.
You're going to be great. You're going to be great, cuz. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time and sharing. Like I say, very inspirational, very fun, and wish you guys the best. Can't wait to see where it leads.
Thanks, Will. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for thinking we're interesting enough to talk to us about this. That's cool.
I think you guys are very interesting. You did just one of the most interesting things anybody could do. You left behind, as you said, you broke the circle that most people find impenetrable. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've made my bed and I lay in it. But you guys said,
yes.
I'm good. So props to you guys.
We're hoping some of our friends follow us down.
We're trying to we're trying to convince others to do the same just by following our actions.
You're included in that.
Yeah, exactly. You're part of people.
Okay, well, stay on the line here. I'm going to turn off the recording and we'll talk about which friends those are.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, now I'm riding the terrain, flying high up once again. Got my crew sitting healthy and my boo living wealthy. Level 99, never settle in my mind. So I pedal and I climb up the pedestal and find almighty weapon. So I calm, lightly step into the castle. Satchel, tackled, wrestled down the corridor where I'm grounded through the floor. Roundhouse into my core, down, out, and through the door. Sword down at my side, I gotta round up and ride. Face boss, break jaws till I take off. Face off, stop and swing my serious strike. This is it, take the title, disappear in the night. To the whole wide world. Got the keys to the kingdom overseas with the wisdom guarantee that my rhythm hit the whole wide world. Slay the boss in the castle when we cross final battle. Then I'll walk out, travel to the whole wide world. Got the keys to the kingdom overseas with the wisdom guarantee that my rhythm hit the whole wide world. Slay the boss in the castle when we cross final battle.